Stranger Things has been over for about 2 months now, so let's take a look at the entire cast and see who the biggest names are going to be as we move forward in the future. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I've got a tier list ranking of the Stranger Things cast based on their future projects, their potential, kind of taking a look at this big ensemble cast as a whole and figuring out who's going to be the biggest star out of the bunch. But before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below what tiers you would place these actors in, and of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 200,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means quite a bit. But I got my tiers right here, and I say we just get down to business. The tiers I have are Superstar, Big Name, Show Up Here and There, Not Much Else, and Off the Grid. Again, I've got the main cast of Stranger Things for all 5 seasons, assessing where these actors are now right in the post-Stranger Things 5 era and figuring out what their future looks like in the movie and TV show industry. So first up, I've got Finn Wolfhard, who's already sort of established a name for himself outside of Stranger Things. Of course, he plays Mike Wheeler in the show, but he has 2 It movies under his belt. He has 2 Ghostbusters movies under his belt. He has directed a film and starred in a film called Hell of a Summer that was a solid slasher flick, and he's got his own thing going with music. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I don't know if he's ever going to reach like the superstar level, but I am going to say that he's going to be a big name just because people kind of already know Finn Wolfhard. He has a recognizable name in and of itself, but I think he'll continue to be in some fairly big projects. I wouldn't be surprised if he lands in another franchise down the line, and he kind of already has become a big name from Stranger Things. I think he'll be able to find another franchise in the next few years and latch onto that and continue to be a big name, but never really reach like superstar level where he's headlining multiple movies or anything like that, if that makes sense. Next, we have Maya Hawke, who just got married. Shout out her. She played Robin in the show, of course, one of my faves, and she's had a lot of success outside of Stranger Things as well. She voiced Anxiety in Inside Out 2. She had a very small role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood back in 2019. She was in Maestro, starring Bradley Cooper, and she's got a lot of projects lined up. I don't know if she'll ever be the huge name that like her mom or dad were, like Uma Thurman or Ethan Hawke, where she's top billed in a movie, you know, time and time again, opening #1 at the box office or anything like that. But I do think she will continue to be a big name in Hollywood where people are like, oh, Maya Hawke, I know her. I don't think she'll be like a superstar necessarily, but I think she'll be a big name, maybe even bigger than Finn Wolfhard. So I'm going to put her in that category right now. Again, she's already proven to have success outside of Stranger Things. Plus, she was late to the game in Stranger Things. She showed up in season 3. I think she'll have good success outside of the show. Next, we have Winona Ryder. She's already been a star since the 80s, so she's kind of already a superstar in a sense. Is she going to continue to be? I don't know. Maybe Stranger Things was like one of her final projects in her career, but as I say that, she literally just got cast in Wednesday season 3, which is probably going to come out in the summer of 2027, so she's got a lot left in her. I'm gonna say this is interesting because like I think she already is kind of a superstar. She's been around for so long. Winona Ryder is an instantly recognizable name. I'm probably just gonna put her in that tier because of her career up to this point. I mean, she is in something and she's like top billed. She was huge in Beetlejuice. She doesn't do much. She's kind of selective the older she's gotten, but I bet she works with Tim Burton 5 to 10 more times in her career. Kind of becomes like the Helena Bonham Carter of Tim Burton movies, which she kind of already is, but you know what I mean. Next, we've got Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie Munson in season 4, and post Stranger Things, he's done A Quiet Place Day 1, Gladiator 2, Fantastic Four First Steps. He's in multiple Avengers films, at least one actually that's coming out this year, Doomsday, and he's playing George Harrison in the Beatles biopic movies. He is already kind of on pace to be a superstar as a leading man, damn near. I'm gonna say we're looking at the future here that Joseph Quinn will be a superstar. I think that he will be maybe the biggest name to come out of the Stranger Things cast alongside 1 or 2 others, but he's already proven that he can work at a high level. He's a fantastic actor, and he landed a role in the Fantastic Four. No one else has really done that. There's one other actor on here who might have a bigger role potentially in the MCU. I'm excited to talk about that when we get there. But Joseph Quinn, I mean, undeniably has the superstar persona, the energy, the acting chops, all of it, the charm, the public support. I think he's going to end up being a huge name in 5 to 10 years' time, no doubt. Next up, we've got Noah Schnapp, who honestly, I don't see doing much else post Stranger Things. He hasn't really had much work outside of Stranger Things for a while now, and I kind of see him being in not much else, maybe even like going off the grid for a bit. I would say he's actually going to go off the grid for a bit. I don't see him acting for a while. He is someone who will always be remembered as their character, Will Byers. I think maybe more so than the other main kids. He'll always be attached to Stranger Things, while the others are probably going to go on to have big, successful careers outside of the show. I just kind of see him always being tied down to Will Byers. Maybe going off the grid for a little bit and not doing too much for a while. Maybe like this is the defining role of his career. It probably is for a lot of these actors, but truly, I just don't know if he's going to go on to do big things as opposed to some of the others. We'll see, though. Next, we have Joe Keery. I think Joe Keery is always going to be a big name. I don't know if he'll ever reach the superstar level. It's hard to say, simply because he does value his music so much, which I love. Shout out Joe. I saw him in concert last year. It was incredible. What a great show. I often wear my Crux Hotel hat. You probably noticed that in some videos, specifically short-form videos. It's tough because Joe Keery hasn't led a movie, whereas Joseph Quinn has been in some big movies. I mean, I think Free Guy, he was just in Cold Storage, didn't have the best success at the box office. I think Joe Keery might be more music-centered, which is totally understandable, and I actually support that. I think he'll kind of show up here and there in movies. I think he'll always have a big name because of Stranger Things, but a lot of people might just be like, oh, that's Steve from Stranger Things. So I'm trying to be objective here. I love Joe Keery, probably more than any celebrity on this list. But I do think if I'm looking at specifically acting here, he might just kind of show up here and there. I'm going to put him there right now. Actually, I take that back. He will be a big name. I think he'll show up I'll put him right here in the middle of big name. I think he'll show up in a lot of movies and shows, but I think music's always going to be priority number one for him. I don't think it'll be a Dylan Minnette situation where he full sends on Wallows and doesn't really do anything else for a while. He just had Cold Storage. He'll probably be in some other stuff. There's a rumor he might even join the MCU. If that's the case, of course he becomes a big name. I mean, he already is, but I think 5-10 years from now, he'll probably have done enough to be considered a big name in Hollywood. Even though, like I said, he kind of already is. Next, we have Caleb McLaughlin, who played Lucas in the show. He just had Goat, the animated Sony movie, come out where he voiced the main character, Will. I have a review I'll link up above. Thoroughly enjoyed that movie. Highly recommend it if you guys are interested in checking out something this weekend in theaters. I'm going to say that Caleb McLaughlin is probably going to be a big name. I mean, I think this man, the sky's the limit for him. I think he's one of the best pure acting talents in the entire show. I would say that he's going to be a big name right alongside Finn. I think those two are going to have great success. I would actually argue he could have more success than Finn, which might sound crazy to say. I think all four of these are kind of equals right now in a sense, where they're going to continue to have success. Caleb McLaughlin could totally land a role in a franchise and play one of the main leads, and he'd be set, and everyone would be like, yep, that's Lucas from Stranger Things, but it's also Caleb McLaughlin. I think he's going to cement himself as an actor. He was already in a LeBron biopic show, I want to say. I never checked it out. It was on one of the streaming services, but I feel like he could land a role in a biopic and get an Oscar nomination within the next decade easily, so I think the future's bright for him. Next, we have Nell Fisher, who I think for now is kind of going to show up here and there. I think she's kind of in the McKenna Grace phase, where McKenna Grace was cast as the young version of every lead character for a decade. She was in I, Tonya, Captain Marvel, plenty of other films as well. I think Nell Fisher could kind of be in that ballpark for a bit, shows up here and there, and then kind of has a McKenna Grace moment, in 5-10 years where she's cast and everything, because she's great as Holly. I haven't seen the Evil Dead movie she's in. She could definitely play that role of the young version of our main hero. So I see that happening, kind of showing up here and there for the next few years. Next, you have Brett Gelman, who I really do think is going off the grid. I like the character Murray, but I think the actor probably going to keep it pretty low-key and go off the grid for a bit if I had to guess. Next, we have Millie Bobby Brown, of course, 11 herself. She's got a Netflix deal. She's already lined up to be in a rom-com. She's got a third Enola Holmes film coming out. She's probably going to continue to make Netflix movies. I think on name recognition alone, everyone already knows she's a big name. But will she ever reach that superstar level? I don't think so, which is maybe a hot take. I don't think so. At the same time, I'm hesitant, though. I feel like she could break out of that Netflix mold eventually and go land a role. I'm pretty sure she's playing an Olympic gymnast in a biopic. The next 5 years, it'll be make or break regarding her post-Stranger Things career. There are so many routes that she could take post-Stranger Things. I'm interested to see what her career holds. I'm going to say for her that she is teetering on the big name to superstar line. I think she'll be at the top of big name for me because I do think everyone already knows who she is and she'll continue to show up in things, but I don't know if she'll ever reach the true superstar. I'm leading these theatrically released movies that are box office hits. That is a tougher call, but I think she's right there on the line. Next, we have Natalia Dyer, who I think is awesome as Nancy, but I think that will always be her defining role. I'm going to say she's not going to show up in much else, and that's fine. She seems pretty low-key. I met her at a con. That's definitely the case. And so I think she won't go off the grid or anything, but I think she'll not appear in much else for now, and that's totally fine. I mean, not everyone in the show is going to go on to have huge success in the movies. Next, we have Sadie Sink, who I think is probably going to be the biggest star to come out of Stranger Things. I'm going to put her at the very top, even over Joseph Quinn, over Winona. I think for the next 5 to 10 years, Oscar nomination incoming. She's also joining the MCU, and it's probable that she's playing Jean Grey, which will have her working for the next 10 years as one of the core characters of the X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think she's just got a huge future ahead of her. She's the best actress maybe in all of Stranger Things, best actor in general. She crushes it as Max Mayfield. I just have a feeling she's going to be like the Emma Stone of this new generation, where she lands multiple Oscar wins over the course of her career, but also does popular blockbuster films as well. We know Emma Stone was in like Superbad, but also Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man films and in Zombieland. So I think that Sadie Sink's going to have a very illustrious career where she's showing her versatility as an actress, showing up in those big blockbuster MCU films, but also doing things like The Whale and, you know, maybe landing some Oscar wins along the way. I just think she has everything it takes to be a superstar, and so I'm putting her in that category. Next, we have Priah Ferguson, who I would say probably not going to show up in much else for a while at least, and, you know, she's kind of always going to be remembered as Erica. That's totally fine. That's fine. You know, not everyone, like I said, is going to break out and be a huge star from the show. Next, we have Jamie Campbell Bower, who I think will always be a big name. I'm going to put him like right here, actually. I think that he is such a great villain. He showed that as Vecna. He's in the upcoming season of The Rings of Power, I want to say, the Lord of the Rings TV show on Amazon. He plays a damn great villain. I could honestly see him landing like a villainous role in a huge franchise, whether that be DC or Marvel. I could see him just being huge as a popular series regular villain in a movie franchise. It could even be a new iteration of Star Wars down the line. He just gives some of the best, most menacing villainous performances, so I think he's going to continue to be a big name. In terms of pure acting, he's one of the best to come out of Stranger Things for sure. Then we got David Harbour, Hopper himself, who has so many insane projects already lined up. He was in New Avengers, or Thunderbolts, if you will. He's in 2 Avengers movies that are upcoming. He is in Violent Night 2. He just starred in GOAT as one of the characters. And he is also going to be in a plethora of, like, action films. Every other day, I feel like he's getting cast in something. I think he's already teetering on the line of being a superstar. And after these Avengers movies come out, I mean, he's going to be one. I'll say it. I think he's going to be a superstar. I'm going to put him right here alongside Joseph Quinn. I think actually, like, right here, I think David Harbour is going to be one of the huge stars post Stranger Things, and he's always going to be Jim Hopper to me, but when it comes down to it, his role as Alexei or Red Guardian in the MCU is going to propel him to stardom, and he, again, already is Santa Claus in my mind, and he's got so many other roles that are going to come out of it, so I think that he is going to be a superstar for sure. Next, we have Charlie Heaton, kind of a little bit above Natalia Dyer in a sense that I think he'll show up here and there. He's in the show Industry on HBO right now, but he also has a couple other shows lined up. I think one coming to Netflix set in like the Bayou or something. He'll show up here and there in supporting roles, but I don't think he'll ever be like a huge name, whereas, you know, Joe Keery, Maya Hawke, and Jamie Campbell Bower probably will be. And then finally, we have Gaten Matarazzo, who I wish nothing but the best for. I love Gaten. I hope that he lands a, you know, musical breakout role and maybe even, you know, wins a Tony down the line or something, whether it's on Broadway doing that or he could get an Oscar nom for a musical adaptation of a Broadway stage play. I think he'll return to Broadway soon, though. He's a beautiful singer. I mean, he has pipes, I'll say it. I also think he's a very heavily underrated actor. I would say he'll show up here and there. I'll put him like right here. I think he'll kind of be in things here and there. He's got like a stoner comedy that he's in, I think, in a few years. Not a ton lined up on the docket for Gaten right now, but I think he's one of the most underrated talents in all of Stranger Things for sure. I'm rooting for him, and I hope that he lands like a leading man role in a musical and a film adaptation. I would be here for it. But who do you guys think are going to be the breakout stars of the Stranger Things cast post season 5? Who will be a superstar? Who will be a big name? Who will kind of go off the grid? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and of course hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and be on the lookout for more videos coming very soon. But thank you guys as always for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the other side of the Upside Down.